I think if women's league boobies are not allowed to be out, then men's boobies shouldn't be out. That's what I think.
It should be.
If it should be just equal for everyone. If men's boobies can be out, then women's boobies should be able to be out. I'm really sweaty because I just ran.
Yeah, how was your hike or run or whatever?
It was great. It was great.
Cool.
I feel great.
Can I get your first name?
Palma, Palma.
Gotcha. My name is Reed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sweet. So, yes, you're running Topless here in Runyon Canyon.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about just wanting to break social norms, a social construct.
Yeah, it's just like who placed these rules on society for why, and I guess it's like because it's like the over-sexualization of like the female form in general, but it's like really at the end of the day, like what's the difference between male and female nipples? Like nothing. That's A. And B is like it should be my right to choose, just like it's my right to choose like what I wear every day or what color. Like if I'm comfortable to show my boobs, like that's my prerogative. Like why should somebody else tell me like what I can do with my own body? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And if someone just decided to run completely naked, would that be fine as well?
I'd be fine with it. I mean, like I said, it's like it's your prerogative. I mean, like I wouldn't want to run completely naked because for me, like there's a huge difference between showing your boobs and showing your like vagina. You know what I mean? Like that's like more private to me.
There's a difference there.
For me, yeah, because I feel like first of all, it's not like you know, guys are walking around with their dicks out and then that makes me be like, well, I want to walk with my vagina out. But it's like there are guys topless everywhere and that's okay. And then me, someone who doesn't really have like huge boobs, and it's like there really isn't that much of a difference. And it's like comfortability for me. And I like just don't like we're all born naked. It's really weird to me that like being naked is like this really like scary, weird thing because it's like we're literally put on this earth nude. So it's like, why are we so afraid of like the human body? Like that just seems really weird to me.
Why are we afraid of the human body?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like there's some beaches that are completely topless, some nude, nude like colonies.
Yeah.
But in general, out in public,
It's a
even
no-no.
even in most public parks, it's not. It's against the social norm.
Yeah, it's against
for
the
women,
law.
For women to be, it's against the law.
Yeah, it's illegal. Like for me to be running around topless here is technically illegal.
Oh, okay.
Like I could get arrested. The only place in LA where it's legal is at Venice. They recently passed a law where you can be topless at Venice, and then in New York you can legally be topless. So I'll walk around the streets of New York topless. I'm like, because it's like on a 90-degree day, like when it's like really hot, like I'll wear just like boy shorts and like no top and just be like a cap and just like and have this like fuck you attitude on my face because it's just like I'm just doing it a lot of the time. Yeah, I'm doing it because I want to do it and I'm comfortable, but to be able to comfortably do it, you have to like.
It's also a statement.
Yeah, like you're trying to make a point. Like I'm definitely trying to make a point by being like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not saying that people should be forced into doing it, but it's like if you're comfortable, it's like go ahead.
So we want to talk about that for like 5 minutes?
Sure.
Like women should be able to walk around topless
100%.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Yeah, 100%. Because it's like, it's just, to me, it's like the same thing with like being topless is almost like, you know, like being gay. Like, why does who I love bother you? Why does me being topless bother you? Like, how does that affect you? I mean, I understand that it like makes people uncomfortable because it's like.
I just tried the shit out of some fucking chick.
What?
She was talking shit about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, here we go.
See, there you go. Like, what did she say?
What,
Yeah, I
going
didn't
up
say
the hill?
anything. They're like these two girls with tattoos, and she had like fake rock hard, fake tits. And she's like, "You see that girl running with her little titties out? They weren't that great. They were terrible, actually. I thought she was a guy." And I was like, "You look like a fucking dude, and your tits are horrible." And she got like turned around and like almost started crying. And I was like, "Oh, so it's cool for you to talk shit about something you don't know, but I can't talk shit about you." I thought so, bitch.
You've started some conversations here
Yeah,
today.
see, because people have a range of different reactions. Like for me today, it's not like I want to be topless to be topless. For me, I'm like hot and I'm running and I want to be comfortable, and it's like.
It's not a sexual thing.
No, it's not even an intention thing. Like I literally feel held back sometimes by having to wear like a top, because it's like you're so hot, and it's like you just like. I understand why boys are topless. Like it's easier to work out. Like, but yeah, that is funny. Yeah, there's been a range of reactions today from people being like kind of shook and just kind of looking. Some people, I guess, saying stuff. Some people kind of giving me like thumbs up.
Okay.
Like, but I think it just makes people who are uncomfortable with themselves. Like
Yeah,
it has
move
not.
to another fucking planet.
It has nothing. It has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Like, why would my titties bother you? You know, like, why does what I'm doing with my body, just like the same thing who judge people for how they look, how they dress, who they love, how their hair, tattoos, not tattoos. It's just a judgment. It's just judgmental.
Yeah, you don't have to like it, but like, why do you have to talk shit?
No, you don't. But I'm okay. I'm like, I would like, I mean, I just started a conversation for that girl, and then I'd like to ask her, like, why does it make you so uncomfortable? What about this makes you
What do
uncomfortable?
you think she would say?
I think she would probably say something like she thinks it's inappropriate, and then I'm like, well, why is it inappropriate? Because you look at female forms as purely a sexual thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, women are over sexualized all the time, and it's like, that's why they say, like, when girls get raped, they're like, oh, you had a short skirt on though, you were asking for it. Like,
Blaming the
no.
victim.
Right, exactly. It's like women should be able to dress how they want and not be in fear of harassment or, you know, any type of repercussions because of that.
So like someone could say against this idea that it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And because why is it inappropriate? you
Yeah,
think?
I would say, why is it inappropriate? And then they would say, or maybe they would say, like, well, a kid's gonna see it. No, I'd say, well, a kid doesn't understand that this isn't wrong. Those are things that are conditioned into a child. A child who comes in the world doesn't know that gay is wrong, doesn't know that black, like racism, people aren't born racist, people aren't born homophobic. Like, those are things that are taught and people are conditioned into through like parents or society or blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, isn't it a good thing for me to be like basically letting people know that like you can be comfortable with yourself and you can do what you want with your own self, and that's your prerogative. And honestly, like, life is too short. We could die tomorrow. Like, do you really want to say that you were always afraid to do what you wanted and be who you wanted to be? Like, no, I don't want to live, like, die and know that, like, I didn't do everything I wanted to do and be exactly who I wanted to be because I was afraid of the judgments of, like, normal people. You know what I mean? They have nothing to do with me.
I could imagine someone could say it's inappropriate because it's exposing children to like a sexual body part.
Right,
Like you
which-
mentioned, you wouldn't run around naked because there's sexual body parts.
Yeah, for me, the difference between like the vagina and boobs is like you don't have a baby from your boobs. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
there's a little bit more implication on a vagina being sexual because like that's where you have sex and like that's how you have a baby, and like there's a little bit like where boobs are kind of just like not really anything.
Are they not really anything?
Yeah, like, I mean, and even if a girl had double D boobs and she wants to run around topless, like, I was like, well, I guess I could see people being okay with, like, smaller boobs, but not bigger ones. But then again, it's just all has to do with this unfair social construct of, like, women and, like, the over-sexualization of women and their bodies and, like, these aren't ideals that I put into this world. These aren't even things I believe, so why should I have to follow them? Like, it makes no sense.
Like, is there a way to test the sexualization of a body part?
No, because I think that, like, that's all relative. Like, for these girls, they might look at it and they might just see it as regular, but that guy might see it as, like, you know, it might make his dick hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people are going to have different reactions to different things for different reasons. And it's all about their experiences, their beliefs, their past. Like, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, I've
So
heard.
it's all relative.
I've heard in some cultures, like women are covered head to toe, and if an ankle is exposed,
Right, that's sexual. A shoulder.
Yeah,
and
that could be super sexual.
We are pretty liberal here in America, but not as liberal as Europe,
Not as liberal.
where
as
no
Europe.
one would give a fuck if I was walking around topless. No one cares that they're walking around topless.
So
And gender's pretty neutral in 2019. Like, I feel like we've gotten to a place in the evolution of the world where, like, gender is not just, like, necessarily this black and white thing anymore. And even though it's never been, I feel like it's a conversation now, and people are more, even with, like, so many trans activists and trans actors and, like, people, trans people getting a lot of attention and bringing attention to, like, basically, like, gender and so, like, gender constructs of, like, non-binary. Like, maybe you were born a woman, but you feel like you're a man, or maybe you feel like you're both.
yeah, even if everyone agreed gender is completely neutral, how does that relate to women being able to, those with female.
Because it's almost like maybe identify
parts.
as a man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And maybe that is why I feel more comfortable.
So if you identified as a man, those would be no longer female breasts, but
They would
male
still
breasts?
be female breasts, but to me it's like it's like saying it's not how other people are gonna, it's how I look at it. Like I might look at it as this not like, because I don't maybe look at myself as all, even if I did, there's some girls who look at themselves as a full female and still won't feel, you know, won't feel like it's a sexual thing. It's like all relative.
Yeah.
Everything is relative.
Yeah. And I'm sure like some trans men, people born female transitioning to male, they could have surgery and they could be running around.
Right, of
with,
course.
With those.
But even to not have surgery and be pre-op and to be doing it, it's like they should be allowed to do that because they don't identify as like. I just feel like people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do.
So if it's
with their own
against
bodies.
if it's against the law for female breasts to be out in public, should trans men not be able to run like other
I think
men?
if women's boobies are not allowed to be out, then men's boobies shouldn't be out. That's what I think.
It should be.
If it should be just equal for everyone. If men's boobies can be out, then women's boobies should be able to be out.
For fairness.
It should
there.
be fair to all the gender. It shouldn't be gender related. Like women can't, but men can. Like this is 2019. Like let's get over that. Like everyone just do what they want to do. You want to be a man. You want to be a woman. You want to do whatever. You want to love a girl. You want to love a guy. Like it's all okay. Do what you want to do. As long as you're not hurting anyone, of course.
As long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yes.
I'm not saying this is the case, but what could be true that could change your confidence about it? Like,
What could change my mind
Yeah,
about
what-
this being okay?
You mentioned harm. Is there anything you could find about harm?
I
from
mean, I
some
think
people?
that if like there was a law right now that passed that said like women are allowed to have their boobs out, like there would be some things that would go right at first, because it's like, because we would still have this conditioning in our mind of women's titties being a sexual thing. So let's say women start having their boobs out and a guy looks and then he crashes his car because he's looking at the girl's titty, you know, like something like that. But I think after time it would become normal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just like if you drop the drinking law right now to 16. You know, like a lot of kids, young kids are going to get into, you know, some fucked up situations, maybe even die, because at first it would be like a culture shock. But then over time, like think about in Europe, they drink at like 14. There are less, you know, drunk driving accidents there than there are here.
Because it's not like a taboo thing.
Right. So I think it's the same thing with bodies. Like there might be some backlash at first, but I think eventually people would just like be agreeable to that. People can do what they want to do.
I think this is the closest argument that people would have an issue with. It's like exposing children to a sexual body part.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that has to do with people's views, parents' views. Yeah, it's still, and then it also, the question for me would be like, well, why are you teaching your child to be afraid of their own body? I mean, that's weird. Like all these implications we put on the human body and then we put that on children. That shouldn't, like, it shouldn't be wrong. Just like it's not wrong to masturbate. It's not wrong to have sex. Like, I don't know why there's all this, like, a lot of, like, I feel like there's a lot of bad association with, like, nudity or sex. And, like, these are very normal things for all human beings. So it's really weird that, like, we put so many negative implications on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like should people be allowed to masturbate or have sex in public?
No.
No.
I think that is sexual.
That is
so
sexual.
that's the difference. You know what I mean? But I just mean in general, like that's another thing that people don't like. It makes people uncomfortable to talk about. It makes people uncomfortable to admit or talk about sex. And that's like, and it's like, why? We all have sex. We're all here because someone had sex, and that's how we're here.
So
Mic drop.
yeah, so I think it's like trying to keep the private versus the public more separate.
Right, and again, it's about your personal. I don't think people should be able to have sex in public, or because that is a sexual thing, you know. But like having your boobies out is like, that's just showing your body. But then again, like I said, like if people want to be naked, I personally don't have an issue with it, but I could definitely see a lot of people having issues with it. But I think that if you just said everyone can be naked, it's free. At first, people would have issues, and then it would become the norm. No one would care. They'd see a guy walking around naked, and it wouldn't be a weird thing. You know what I mean? We need to normalize like human bodies in general, and like
Gotcha.
women's bodies.
Cool. So, what would change your mind if anything?
What would change my mind, if anything, about women having the right to be topless?
Yeah. What would have to be the case?
There would have to be like Adolf Hitler would have to rise from the dead and say that he's gonna go kill all the Jews if like women are topless.
If there were some massive
Yeah.
social consequences?
Yeah,
for
like
some
it'd have to
reason?
be like wars would have to be declared because of this. Like there'd have to be people dying. Because I don't care about making someone uncomfortable. Like that's not my problem.
There would have to be physical harm to people.
Yes.
Not mere
physical.
just
If it's
emotional harm.
hurting people, then like, okay. But even then, it's still unfair. I shouldn't be threatened into not being topless. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that would be more of a reason for me to say, okay, I won't do it because I don't want everyone to die.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks, Palma. That was a very good talk. First one for me for that topic, but I appreciate
Dope.
it. All right.
Thank you so much. How do I watch
you.
it?
I have a YouTube channel.
Cool.
May end up there when it was on Periscope. You
Okay.
can check it out there.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.
Good luck with your interviews.
Thanks.
Good talk.
Yep.